shadow who helped me a lot with the whole project. So thank you. And I put my bot in there
on Discord.
Yeah, no security because I hadn't built sandboxing in yet. I just prompted it to like only listen to me. And then some people came and tried to hack it, and I just watched, and I just kept working in the open. Like I used my agent to build my agent harness and to test like various stuff. And that's very quickly when it clicked for people. So it's almost like it needs to be experienced. And from that time on, that was January the 1st, I got my first real influencer, being a fan, did videos, the kids. Thank you. And from there on, I saw it gaining up speed. And at the same time, my sleep cycle went shorter and shorter because I felt the storm coming, and I just worked my ass off to get it into a state where it's kind of good.
There's a few components, and we'll talk about how it all works, but basically you're able to talk to it using WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord. So that's a component that you have to get right.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out the agentic loop. You have to have the gateway, you have the harness, you have all those components that make it all just work nicely.
Yeah. It felt like Factorio times infinite.
Right.
I feel like I built my little my little playground. Like I never had so much fun than building this project. Like you have like, oh, I go like level 1 agentic loop. What can I do there? How can I be smart at queuing messages? How can I make it more human-like? Oh, then I had this idea of, because the agent always replies something, but you don't always want an agent to reply something in a group chat. So I gave him this no reply token. So I gave him an option to shut up. So it feels more natural.
That's level 2.
Yeah. On the agentic loop, and then I go to memory, right?
Yeah.
You want them to like remember stuff. So maybe the ultimate boss is continuous reinforcement learning, but I feel like I'm level 2 or 3 with markdown files and a vector database. And then you can go to the level community management. You can go to level website and marketing. There's just so many hats that you have to have on. Not even talking about native apps. That's just like infinite different levels and infinite level ups you can do.
So the whole time you're having fun. We should say that for the most part, through this whole process, you're a one-man team. There's people helping, but you're doing so much of the key core development.
Yeah.
And having fun. You did in January 6,600 commits, probably more.
I sometimes posted the meme, I'm limited by the technology of my time. I could do more if agents would be faster.
But we should say you're running multiple agents at the same time.
Yeah. Depending on how much I slept and how difficult of the tasks I work on, between 4 and 10.
4 and 10 agents. There's so many possible directions, speaking of Factorio, that we can go here. But one big picture one is, why do you think your work, OpenClaw, won in this world? If you look at 2025, so many startups, so many companies are doing kind of agentic type stuff or claiming to. And here OpenClaw comes in and destroys everybody. Like, why did you win?
Because they all take themselves too serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to compete against someone who's just there to have fun.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be weird. And if you see like all the lobster stuff online, I think I managed weird. For the longest time, the only way to install it was git clone, pm build, pm gateway. Like, you clone it, you build it, you run it. And then the agent, I made the agent very aware. Like, it knows that it is what its source code is. It understands how it sits and runs in its own harness. It knows where the documentation is. It knows which model it runs. It knows if you turn on verbose or reasoning mode. Like, I wanted to be more human-like, so it understands its own system that made it very easy for an agent to, oh, you don't like anything, you just prompt it into existence. And then the agent would just modify its own software. We have people talk about self-modifying software. I just built it. I didn't even plan it so much. It just happened.
Can you actually speak to that? Because it's just fascinating. So you have this piece of software that's written TypeScript.
Yeah.
That's able to, via the agentic loop, modify itself. I mean, what a moment to be alive in the history of humanity, in the history of programming. Here's a thing that's used by a huge amount of people to do incredibly powerful things in their lives. And that very system can rewrite itself, can modify itself. Can you just speak to the power of that? Isn't that incredible? When did you first close the loop on that?
Oh, because that's how I built it as well. Most of it is built by codecs, but oftentimes when I debug it, I use self-introspection so much. It's like, hey, what tools do you see? Can you call the tool yourself? Oh, what error do you see? Read the source code, figure out what's the problem. I just found it an incredibly fun way that the very agent and software that you use is used to debug itself, so that it felt just natural that everybody does that. And that it led to so many pull requests by people who never wrote software. I mean, it also did show that people never wrote software. So I call them prompt requests in the end. But I don't want to pull that down, because every time someone made the first pull request is a win for a society, it doesn't matter how shitty it is, you got to start somewhere. So I know there's this whole big movement of people complain about open source and the quality of PRs and a whole different level of problems. But on a different level, I found it very meaningful that I built something that people love to think of so much that they actually start to learn how open source works.
Yeah, you were the Open Cloud project was a first pull request. You were the first for so many. That is magical. So many people that don't know how to program are taking their first step into the programming world with this.
Isn't that a step up for humanity? Isn't that cool?
Creating builders.
Yeah. The bar to do that was so high, and with agents and with the right software, it just went lower and lower. I don't know. I was I also organize another type of meetup. I called it Cloud Code Anonymous. You can get the inspiration from.
Yeah.
Now I call it Agents Anonymous for reasons.
Agents Anonymous.
And
it's so funny on so many levels. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
And there was this one guy who talked to me. He's like, I run this design agency, and we never had custom software, and now I have 25 little web services for various things that help me in my business, and I don't even know how they work, but they work. And he was just very happy that my stuff solved some of his problems, and he was curious enough that he actually came to a agentic meetup, even though he doesn't really know how software works.
Can we actually rewind a little bit and tell the saga of the name change? First of all, it started out as Relay.
Yeah.
And then it went to
Claudus. Yeah, when I built it in the beginning, my agent had no personality. It was Claude code. Slightly sycophantic, opus, very friendly. And when you talk to a friend on WhatsApp, they don't talk like Claude code. So I felt this, it didn't feel right. So I wanted to give it a personality.
Make it spicier, make it
Yeah.
something. By the way, that's actually hard to put into words as well. And we should mention that, of course, you create the soul.md, inspired by Anthropic's constitutional AI work, how to make it spicy.
Partially, it picked up a little bit from me. Those things are text completion engines in a way. So I had fun working with it, and then I told it to how I wanted it to interact with me, and just write your own agents.md, give yourself a name. And I don't even know how the whole lobster. I mean, people only do lobster. Originally, it was actually lobster in a TARDIS, because I'm also a big Doctor Who fan.
Was there a space lobster?
Yeah.
I heard. What's that have to do with anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to make it weird. There was no big grand plan. I'm just having fun here.
Oh, so because a lobster is already weird, and then the space lobster is an extra weird.
Yeah, because the TARDIS is basically the harness, but you cannot call it TARDIS, so we call it Claudis. So that was name number 2.
Yeah.
And then it never really rolled off the tongue. So when more people came, again, I talked with my agent, Claude. At least that's what I used to call him now.
Claude spelled with a W, CLAWD.
Yeah.
Versus CLAUDE from Anthropic.
Yeah.
Which is part of what makes it funny. I think the play on the letters and the words and the tortoise and the lobster and the space lobster is hilarious, but I can see why it can lead into problems.
Yeah, they didn't find it so funny. So then I got the domain Claudebot, and I loved the domain, and it was like short, it was catchy. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. I didn't think it would be that big at this time. And then just when it exploded, I got a very friendly email from one of the employees that they didn't like the name.
One of the